Hi, everyone, and welcome to this month's audio production town hall. So glad all of you could join us. Every month, you'll find us here talking about all kinds of topics related to audio production, from making records to sound and film for video games, and so much more. We hope you plan to join us regularly, but if you do miss a session, you should be able to find an archive recording at the same link. Today, we're going to talk about 6 plugins, audio mixing plugins, that we think you should be taking advantage of. 3 of them are already in your Launchbox goodies. We're also going to talk about 3 absolutely free plugins that you might have checked out, maybe have never heard of, but we think it's something you'll really like. My name is John Curtis. I am your department chair. I'm also the course director for Advanced Mixing Techniques later in the program. Joining me today is our course director for Vocal Techniques and Neighborhood Pro Tools guru, Mr. Ed Tinley. Ed, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, John?
Fantastic. All right, so Ed, I think you have 3 plugins that they already get in their Launchbox.
Yes, I do.
That we think would be really fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these are.
All right, so with your Launchbox, you have a Pro Tools Ultimate subscription. I'm going to look at a couple of the Avid Pro plugins that come in with your subscription. If you don't have these installed, the Avid Pro compressor, the Avid Pro limiter, I believe there's a multi-band compressor and an expander gate as well, 4 plugins in the package. You can get them through the Avid link if you want to download them through the Avid link program, or you can go to your my.avid.com account. Make sure you sign in with your email that's associated with your Pro Tools Ultimate account. Click on View My Products. Oh, it's making me re-log in. Sorry, 1 second. We waited too long.
Make sure to show everybody your password.
There you go. Everybody knows it now. If I can get it right on the first time. Live television, you gotta like it. All right, well anyway, if you log in, you're gonna go to Pro Tools Ultimate, click on that, click on View Download Links, and then scroll down almost nearly all the way down to where the audio plugins are, and it's the Avid Pro Bundle is what you want to install. If you're using the Avid link, you can also install it through that app as well. But I'm going to focus first on the Avid Pro compressor. Why I want to show you this compressor is, A, it sounds really good. B, it's probably the cleanest sounding compressor I have in my arsenal. And what I mean by clean is that you can compress really hard. You can really hit the signal hard without actually hearing the compression. And it doesn't add a lot of harmonics or any sort of unwanted sound or tone shift to your source material. And it sounds especially clean on vocals. The interface can be a little intimidating if you're not quite really used to using compression yet. There are a lot of bells and whistles on this, so let's go ahead and go through some of them.
Real quick though,
yes.
Just for anybody who's not familiar, what exactly is a compressor? What does it do, and what would they do?
Great question. I'm getting ahead of the game here. So compressor, the basic definition of it is you set a threshold. So if your audio peaks go above the threshold, the compressor is gonna push those peaks back down. It's gonna use gain reduction so those peaks don't jump over the threshold more than you set. So thus it's gonna tame the loud peaks in your source, and it's gonna make some of the quieter material seem louder. So with a compressed signal, it's gonna seem a little more loud on average. You're not gonna have such a dynamic variance in your peak sources. So with vocals being such a peak-based signal, meaning it's really dynamic, when you have a singer, you're going to have a lot of variance between some really loud peaks and some very soft peaks. So we can make it easier on ourselves to mix, to compress that signal a little bit. So some of the basics that you're going to find on most compressors, again, the threshold, that's kind of our most important parameter here that we'll use to set the overall amount of compression. The second one that you're going to see just about on any compressor is the ratio. That is the amount of gain reduction once you go over that threshold. So for right now, I have mine set to 3 to 1. So for every dB I go over the threshold, it is going to compress that by 3 dB. So with a vocal, a lot of times, especially a lead vocal, if I don't want to overcompress, which is something you want to stay away from, I typically start with a low ratio, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, something in that range. Two other parameters that you're going to see quite often on a compressor are the attack and the release knobs. Attack and release, they're both in milliseconds. So right now I have a 5 millisecond attack, which is kind of a slower attack, maybe medium slow for a vocal setting, meaning 5 milliseconds will go by before it starts to compress the signal. And then once the signal goes below the threshold, after 30 milliseconds, it'll release and stop compressing. But I think most of you kind of have a basic idea of compression. So if I just solo up this vocal really quick. Here it comes.
It's not about you. Yeah.
So that's the setting with the current compression. If I turn it off, here's the uncompressed vocal.
It's not about you. Yeah.
So you're probably thinking, wow, I don't really hear a huge difference. And that's a good thing, because this is what I'm saying about being a clean sounding compressor. It's really transparent. It's not messing with any of the harmonics. So if we look at the signal and we look at the meters here,
It's not about you. Yeah.
we see an input signal on the left and an output signal on the right. And if we look at the meter here in this, this graph next to the ratio, you'll see gain reduction, the amount of compression that's occurring.
It's not about you. Yeah.
And in the scheme of things, I'm hitting about 6 to 9 dB of gain reduction, which in a lot of other plugins, that's a heavy compression setting. That's quite a bit of compression. But on this plugin, we're not hearing a lot of it. And why is that? A, I have a slower attack going, and I have a pretty fast release. So it's grabbing onto the peak, and it's letting go pretty quick. So it's keeping most of the transients intact. And as I stated before, this is a very transparent compressor. If we try 9 or 10 dB on another plugin, we're really going to hear the artifacts of compression from that. A few other bells and whistles on here is we have a knee setting, so like your KNEE, your knee. That is how quick you'll achieve your ratio of compression. So when it starts compressing, it doesn't hit that 3 to 1 ratio right away. It slopes into that 3 dB gain reduction for every dB it goes over. The knee will determine how quickly you get to that 3 to 1. So we have terms like hard knee compressor or soft knee compressor. On this plugin, I generally leave this alone. I'll leave this set at right in the middle at 15 dB. And this other knob on the right here, the depth knob, this is a really cool feature of this plugin. If you're new to compression and you want to make sure that you don't overcompress and kind of destroy your tone, it has a depth knob on it. In depth, what that means is the maximum amount of gain reduction that it's going to allow. So right now with it off, it'll allow for as much gain reduction as I can get out of it. But if I say turn this up to like -5 dB, with that setting, no matter what, it's not going to compress more than 5 dB. So if I hit play and we look at our gain reduction meter again,
It's not about you. Yeah.
notice it wouldn't go any farther than 5 dB. Where when I had that off, we were definitely hitting 9 or 10 dB on the gain reduction meter.
It's not about you. Yeah.
So again, for the newer mixer, the newer engineer, if you don't want to overcompress, you can set this depth knob to make sure it doesn't compress by more than a set gain reduction. And what's wrong with overcompressing a signal? Sometimes it's needed. I mean, there's no real rules in audio mixing, but If you do overcompress, there can definitely be some artifacts that come along with it. One thing would be sibilance. Some of the S's and F's and CH's, those harsh sounds, can become more apparent, especially with a slower attack. If you're going to run some bass instruments through this, or a whole mix, or a kick drum, and you start overcompressing, the first thing you're going to lose is that low-end response, those low-end frequencies. You can start to make things sound more narrow or filtered with heavy compression. So again, if you're just getting into this, and I remember back when I was in audio school, compression was kind of a mystery to me for a while. It took me a little while to figure it out. So if you're not real certain or trusting your ear quite yet, maybe utilize this depth knob, use it to like 4 or 5 dB to make sure you don't grossly overcompress the signal.
Ed, we have a question.
Sure.
We have some friends visiting from music. I wasn't able to find anything on my end.
If with music production, if part of your launch box is the Pro Tools Ultimate subscription, you definitely get these plugins along with it. Again, log into your my.avid account, my.avid.com. Go to My Products, then click on Download Links. Then there'll be a huge list of all the available audio plugins, ARA2 plugins, MIDI effects. But if you scroll all the way down to where the audio plugins are, you should see the Pro Bundle. I think it's called 2022 point something, like 2022.8. That was the last update. It was actually about 4 years ago. But hopefully, yeah, if you have Pro Tools Ultimate, you will have this as part of your package.
The 3 I'm going to talk about are absolutely free, and I'll be providing the link, so anybody can have it.
Okay. But welcome, people from music production. Definitely all audio production students have it. I'll have to get back to you on whether music production does as well.